Hey everybody, Aaron here. So today I want to talk about one of the most common mistakes by far that pretty much everybody that rides a mountain bike makes. From beginner level, definitely more common, all the way up to advanced level. This is kind of a technique that I even have to continue reminding myself of, and some days when I go out on a ride, this will be like my only goal is basically to work on what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So what I'm talking about is simple in theory, hard to execute, and that is the ability to basically corner with your eyes or to look out of your corners. I think everybody can think of a situation on trail where you have a berm turn like this, or a flat turn, or maybe you're turning and you've got a ledge on the outside of the corner, and the whole second half of the turn is totally blown out, where everybody's running over the exit of the corner. The trail starts washing off the outside edge. And that's basically all because people are not coming out of the corners and leading with their eyes. So you get stuck looking at your front wheel, the bike stands up, you don't realize the corner continues to turn, and you'll end up riding out the backside of the turn every time. So there's two parts where this makes sense. And I basically want to explain the two sections of that today and kind of demonstrate it and explain a little bit more as we go. This is the exit of a berm turn. There's actually a pretty long turn. So at this point in the corner, we're already probably 30 feet through the corners. So braking isn't really an issue here because if you've made it this far, you've basically slowed down enough for the corner. So this is 100% just because you're either following your eyes out of the corner or you're staring at your front tire and you're missing the exit. So as you can see, this section is, I don't know, at least 10 feet wide here. And you've basically got tire tracks going over the berm starting here and ending, I mean, all the way basically out here. So there's a little bit of double here that's kind of beat down. That's where the trail should be. And you can see how far people are basically messing this up. So the big difference when you are in a section like this, obviously, one, especially if you're racing, there is a lot of time to either be made or lost here. One of the most important places where you gain time is the momentum you carry out of a corner. So in this turn, because we have a left turn following, it is extremely important that you do this corner correctly. If this was a long straightaway, it might not be as important if you're going further left or right, but because you need to set up for this next corner, this extra 10 feet basically is the difference between you rounding that corner with a lot of exit speed to basically having to square up, make the corner twice as tight, and having your exit speed coming out, which is going to cost you probably a couple seconds in one corner. So basically the furthest out tire mark here is about there. So 2, 3. So there's about 10 feet of difference here. We'll see how this guy does it. He's ripping, so yeah, boy. He's 50-50. Right in the middle. So there's literally 10 feet of trail here that people are using, and this is 100% determined on how they look out of this corner. As you could see, that guy, when he rode through, he was pretty much here, and then he was a good enough rider where he corrected and got into there, but you could still see the wheels were breaking traction on the entrance of the corner, and all that is because he was coming in at too sharp of an angle. So ideally, when you come into this corner, the best possible place you could be is here. So you've got 10 feet of error and you've got about 6 inches of where you would actually want to be to set up perfect to maximize your exit speed coming out of this corner. So as you can see, as people get sucked out over this berm, if you really do it wrong, you've got skid marks all the way into here on the inside. So when you look at the angle of this corner, compared to if you're trying to make this your corner as compared to making this your corner, your exit speed is going to be so different. So basically whatever you do in the corner there with your eyes, you're either going to get the reward here or you're going to pay for it here. So the speed that you're going to give up in this corner, you're not going to get it back until there's like 4 more corners you're going to have to go through before you get enough pitch and enough straightaway where you can pedal and get back up to speed. So you're just going to be paying, because you messed up the exit of this corner, for the next probably 25 seconds of trail at least. So this is very important that you get these techniques dialed in and you work on exiting your corners with good momentum. And that all starts with where your eyes are looking when you're coming out of the corner. So just for giggles, let's time this section, and I will hit it as fast as I can both times. But on try number 2, I will basically mess up the entrance of that first turn and the exit of that corner. And then the other time I'll hit everything right. So we'll see what the time difference is. As we were explaining down there, this will basically compound the further down the track you go. So if you mess this one up on the inside, your exit speed is gonna be bad. If you mess up the next one, it gets worse and worse. I would say on a section like this, if we're gonna go through all 3 corners, the difference in hitting each corner right and hitting each corner bad is probably gonna be between 3 and 5 seconds of time on the trail, just in 3 corners. So you're giving up at least a second a turn if you don't do this right. We just talked about the next corner, so now we're gonna come up 1 corner further up the trail, basically where we're gonna start this. So we basically got the same thing here. So this is where everything either starts to go right or go wrong. So as you're exiting this corner, there's a double, and this is made more important here because your tires aren't gonna be on the ground here to basically correct and be able to continue cornering if you get stuck looking at your front wheels. So you're not gonna be able to save yourself. You basically have a small margin of error and a small amount of track here where if you do this right, you'll hit this double at the right angle and you'll set yourself up nice for the corner. If you don't, you're gonna get stuck in the air jumping to the inside of this corner, and by that point, it's too late. But for the most part, when you come out, you just always wanna remember, there's always a point when you come into a corner where you kind of have your apex, which would be considered sort of the center point of your turn. You're kind of focused on that as you're braking, but as you arrive to that point, you don't want to get stuck looking there because then you'll be surprised by the exit. So as you're entering kind of the center point of your corner, it's important to move your eyes out of the corner so that you can continue to round the turn and exit with speed. A lot of times people will over brake a turn because they are not looking out of the apex. So you will think like, oh, I need to slow down more, when in reality you can let off the brakes and you have plenty of room to basically exit the corner without braking anymore. But you get balled up into the middle on the brakes and then it makes your exit speed pay. So, and you can basically see here, as with that section down there that I was just explaining, we've got probably about 8 feet of possible trail here. Again, your ideal spot where you would want to be is up here to give yourself kind of the most open corner you can get to carry the most speed, brake the least, all that kind of stuff. If you do not get your eyes up out of this corner and you get stuck on the wrong angle on the lip of this jump and you end up jumping this way because you're not looking out of the corner and allowing the bike to come this way, you're gonna get stuck in here and you're gonna be basically skidding into this corner because it's gonna be too sharp to make. So this corner should have no skidding. That's what I feel like. I'm like, this feels very wrong to me. I feel very not good doing that, especially on camera. Like, you can pretty much hit this corner with 0 brakes if you do it right. By the time you're here, your eye should be all the way out of the corner and I'm looking like to the entrance of the next turn. Basically, ideally where you want to be is all the way set up wide out there in that dark dirt to open the entrance of the corner as much as you can, to carry as much speed through and ultimately brake as little as possible. If you do not exit this corner right and you don't get your eyes getting out and you get stuck over here on the left, you can see you're basically just running straight into a wall. At that point, you've made the turn so tight, you're gonna have to pedal out. You've wrecked all of your speed, and it's gonna take you a long time to get it back.
And then you don't get on the podium.
And then you're not on the podium. Definitely, that's not a podium move right there. That's multiple positions in a World Cup if you mess that up. Yeah, you just pack it up. All right, guys, so there you go. That's kind of a demonstration. It was honestly a little bit, a lot of bit awkward for me to try to hit that looking at my front tire and kind of messing these exits up. But it is basically where we all start. I had to learn this when I started racing motocross a long time ago. It was something I really struggled with, actually. It was probably my biggest weakness, is I looked way too close in front of me. So it took me a long time to kind of get this dialed in, and now something that just comes second nature. So be patient with it. As you can see from the demonstration, there is a large margin here of error, and there is a big difference, as you can see from watching, with your overall trail speed, how much momentum you're allowed to carry. if you do this right versus doing it wrong. So remember, key is as you enter the apex of the corner to make sure you are moving your eyes out of the exit of the corner and looking down trail, or in a tight situation like this, to the entrance of the next corner, so that your body and your bike will follow. It always follows your eyes. And so that you will basically be able to set up for the next section of trail. So I hope that helps, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.